One thing I always loved about Wingerts, and I'll give you guys credit, is you guys had that hot deli, you had the cold deli, and you had Subway. You know, it was kind of the one stop. You could go get a 5-pound bucket of nails, something for dinner, grab your lunch, and like it was literally the one stop shop.
We got called. Yep, it was, and that's the whole thing. Is kind of sometimes we got called a mini Myers or a Wingerts Walmart or whatever you want. But that's kind of what Dad wanted to do.
Welcome to another episode of Small Town Grit. I'm your host Corey Haubs, and I have Tim Wingert. Previous partner at Wingerts. Was it just deli?
It was Wingerts Food Center, Pharmacy, Do It Best Hardware, and Subway. So it was quite the long name. That was a DBA thing, but it's Wingerts Inc. And then all those titles fit in there as well. So.
All right. Well, I should have wrote all that down before I introduced you. So welcome. You and your family had a rich history in Mayville for over 90 years. And now you've transitioned out of the business, but let's recap on how it all started. You know, was it your dad and mom that?
No, my grandfather started the supermarket business back in 1932 with him and his three sisters in downtown Mayville. And started a supermarket, and he kept getting bigger. And at one time, and then my father, as he grew up, and my uncle, as they grew up in the business, they actually at one time, Wingerts had 4 stores. They had one in Mayville, one in Croswell, one in Auburn Hills, which is kind of Auburn Heights, is Auburn Heights, but now it's kind of Auburn Hills, and in Oxford. Did I say Oxford?
No.
So those 4 stores, and Mayville was kind of the main site where they cut the meat, and then we trucked it to all the 4 locations, the other 3 locations. So we were on Main Street in Mayville for the longest time. And then in 1977, grandfather, built this big store for Mayville. And then he gradually he kept adding on. I think over the years, we added on 5 times. I put in a branch of the bank, had a relationship with Mayville State Bank. And then 2005 was a big addition when we brought in the hardware. Added on to the bakery deli, and then we brought in the franchise of Subway back in 2005, 2006.
So you guys had 4 locations, and a lot of people probably never knew that. I would have never known that. Yep. At what point do you even decide to, your grandfather and dad to have those locations, and at what point do they say, all right, we're rooted here in Mayville, and that's...
I think it got to be a lot to have 4 locations, with my father and my grandfather being spread pretty thin, going to those locations, to keep an eye on things. I mean, they had good management, but I think that got to be a lot. You had a truck on the road, trucking the beef down, When I was a little kid, we used to get up at 4:00 in the morning and load the truck up with meat, and I would ride with Grandpa or my father and take that, and so would my brother. I just think that got to be too much. I think he wanted to focus more on Mayville and focus on that and expanding that business and expanding that, the size of the market. So I think that's why I guess I was too young to really know why they actually stopped doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you to our sponsors. IRD Homes, Mid-Michigan's top contractor, bringing new builds and renovations to life. Timber Oaks. Timber Oaks offers customized lawn and landscape solutions and is a premier Mid-Michigan lawn care company. Link Excavation, your Mid-Michigan excavating experts serving Bay, Tuscola, Saginaw, Huron, and Genesee counties. Do you know roughly what years those transitions?
Late 60s, early 70s.
Oh, okay.
They had those stores.
So once you got rid of those, you kind of moved and relocated and then started
focused
building.
on Mayville. Like I said, 1976, 77 started the building project of where the store is now, and focused on doing that.
Yeah, I remember 2005 that I think it was probably the last big renovation with the hardware, and that was a huge asset.
It was a big, and having a hardware in town and being open so that the people could get hardware stuff instead of having to go into Home Depot or Walmart or wherever, just to keep that business there. And the hardware, it can be a good business. I mean,
so you have 2 brothers and a sister, right?
Yep, I have my brother Jeff, who Jeff and I stayed in the business right till the very end. Yep, brother Aaron was in the business until he passed in 2020, and my sister part of the corporation, but she's kind of one of those silent partners, so to speak, where she's in the banking industry down in Charlotte, just outside of Lansing.
Oh, okay. So how does that transition work? How did it work for you guys? The three brothers and the sister, and your dad. I knew your dad a little bit, but not as well as other people, but he was always involved. Even after you guys transitioned, I think he was still always active.
Dad was active pretty much right up until the day he passed.
Yeah.
He had the attitude that, you have some businesses that where the owner's an outside owner, their voice isn't as strong, but he taught us that it was important that for ownership to be there. For the most part, when we had the business, there was always a Wingert there, and that was his philosophy.
Yes.
We did have one manager that on Tuesday nights that we could do something as a family if we wanted to, but there was always a Wingert there, and we worked our weekends, we worked our nights, and but yeah, that was just his philosophy that the family needs to be there, at this part, and be there for if something comes up. Yes, we're only a phone call away if there was a problem, but that was his philosophy, and I think Jeff and I carried that right to the end. In the family dynamics, you always have. We're the brothers and my father were four different individuals, and we all have different opinions how things should be done. But I think we had as Dad grew older, he kind of had his role in what he did. He wasn't in the store every day, but he come in, he checked on us, make sure we were doing things. And Dad was old school, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But when the three brothers were there, we all had our departments, and we all had our responsibilities that we were responsible for. If there was a group decision that needed to be made, we got together and we discussed it and talked about it. Sometimes we may have had to have a vote.
Was mom the deciding factor?
Mom was no. She didn't really. She was kind of that silent person. Yes, if we wanted her to be part of that, Mom would tell us things, and she became more vocal once Dad passed. She came in and she kind of said, "Hey, this needs to be done, or this needs to be done."
But that's okay too, because sometimes you just need a mom. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure it's hard. When your dad was around. How do you separate him being your dad or your boss or your partner? You know.
Yeah.
But it's always nice that mom's just. We have that in our household. Mom's just mom.
Yeah. Mom, she's a very caring individual, and Mom was right there. She was in the business pretty much from the time they got married all the way up until we sold the store. So she was part of the business, and she was at one time she was head cashier, she was secretary, she did training, she did she'd give tours to the kids come up from the schools, and she did it all. So very supporting. Wife and mother, and she was always there for us. So and still is.
Did you guys ever at some point question the reinvestment back in the community? You're talking less than 1,000 people in town. I'm sure pretty minimal numbers, like within 10 miles.
Yeah. Dad took some risk. He again, we made a big addition in 2005, 2006. Okay, what's this going to do? Can you still make it and get your return on your investment? But it worked out really well. For the most part, Mayville being where we're in a really good location. The great idea for him to be along 24 to get that 24 traffic, because you believe it or not, the traffic we got on 24, especially on the weekends, people heading up north going to Caseville or something, they'd stop by there, get their groceries, and then continue on up north. So it was the location thing, location, as was very important. But I think that he took a gamble. It paid off. And just being the location where we're at too. Vassar or Millington or Kingston, North Branch, all those surrounding communities, some of those places don't have supermarkets. And so we were centrally located enough where we drew those people. We advertised in those, in those areas, sent ads out there. Somewhat did some supporting of some different clubs and stuff. And so, that's important.
Mm-hmm. One thing I always loved about Wingerts, and I'll give you guys credit, is you guys had that hot deli, you had the cold deli, and you had Subway. It was kind of the one stop. You could go get a 5-pound bucket of nails, something for dinner, grab your lunch, And like it was literally the one-stop shop.
We got called. Yep, it was, and that's the whole thing. Is kind of sometimes we got called a mini Myers or a Wingerts Walmart or whatever you want. But that's kind of what Dad wanted to do. He wanted, he wanted to have a place where people could go in Mayville and not have to go to surrounding communities, because if you go to a Meijer, more than likely you're gonna go there, you're gonna do other business there. Mm-hmm. Why not keep that business in Mayville?
Yeah.
And for the size of the store we had for Mayville, like you said, it was very unique. But we did a lot of business with the surrounding communities that come in, and like I said, those places that didn't have a supermarket, or maybe even they did have a supermarket. We felt that we did customer service. We pride ourselves on customer service. We still bag people's groceries for them. We still help them out to their car. If a customer come in and if he wanted a 1-inch thick T-bone steak, we're going to cut him a 1-inch thick T-bone steak. And some places didn't do that.
Yeah.
So we prided ourselves on customer service. We felt we put out a competitive ad every week. So we're not going to be in Meijer, we're not going to be in Walmart, but if we can be competitive and keep those people from driving to those other places, that's a plus.
Yeah,
it's good for business.
Yeah, I know you guys are missing the community, but you guys sold. What was it? Last year? It was officially last year that.
A year ago. Yep, September of 2023 we sold. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
At what point does that come up when family decision? Is it just you got 90 years of history? Or is it just time?
It was time.
Obviously, it was just time because it happened.
We had when Dad passed in 2020 and then Aaron passed in 2020. 2020 was a tough year for us. It was a tough year for a lot of people, especially with COVID. There was some of the restrictions we had. Don't get me wrong, business was good for 2020 with everything that was going on. But we just looked at, early in 2021, we kind of met and said, hey, I'm 60, early 60s. My brother Jeff, he's pushing 60. And with Aaron being gone, that kind of left a void, So we said, we really don't have anybody. All of my kids, Jeff's kids, they've taken different career paths, and we're happy for them. They're doing well. And the grocery business is a tough business, So we decided that, hey, let's pursue trying to sell it. We were going to be very picky on who we sold it to, because we just don't want somebody coming in and saying, hey, and offering you a low ball price. But we feel that we sold it to some good people, and they're family owned. That was very important to us. Mm-hmm. And in this day and age, if you can sell your business and get a fair price for it, that was the whole thing. And it was a 2-year process, 2.5 years from the time we decided to sell it till we actually signed the papers. We started right around February of 2021, and then everything ended in September of 2023.
Okay.
So it was a choice. Was it a tough choice? I think it was, in a sense, because you always wonder, okay, what's Dad thinking? Okay, is he going to roll over in his grave or come haunt us because why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? We always kind of had a goal, at least I know I did, kind of to see the 100-year mark. Mm-hmm. But I would be in my 70s if we reached that 100-year mark, So I really didn't want to work that long.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was time, and we're, there's no looking back right now. I'm glad we did it. So,
well, good.
Moving on from there.
You brought up a good point. I think a lot of people, when we have our kids, we think that we're grooming them to take over or transition the business. And, we've raised 3 boys, and we have one that's in the business, but by no means will probably end up taking it over, but he's involved in the business. Mm-hmm. Is that hard?
Yes and no.
Yeah, because, sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's all right.
Well, I've always said, I want you to experience it. I understand if it's not you. Mm-hmm. I'm proud of you, whatever you want to do, but I don't want to force this on you.
Right.
And I think a lot of times, and maybe it's tradition or how we were brought up. Our parents are just like, you got to do this, you got to do this, and it's ingrained in you. It's like you said, I got up at 4:00 in the morning to fill the meat truck up and then head to the city.
Right.
That's just what you know.
Yeah. All of our kids, Dad got us started at a young age. And we tried to do the same thing with my kids. Okay, mm-hmm. all 4 of my kids, even Dorina's kids, all 4 kids worked in the store. You gave them that little bit of taste. Some of them liked it, some of them didn't like it. Some of them may have left and then come back. a little bit later on. But again, I think it's a tough business today, and for them, could they have carried it on? I think they could have, but I think I'm happy for them where they're at right now. For the most part, they're working a Monday through Friday job. They have the weekends off. They got time to spend with their family. And in grocery retail is not, you're working 60, 70 hours a day, sometimes 7 days a week. And it's a tough grind, especially if you want to be, if you're a hands-on owner, and that's what you got to do. So no hard feelings. Like I said, all of our kids, very proud of them, successful in the career paths that they chose. And so we gave them the opportunity, but they chose different paths, and that's okay.
Yeah. No,
still love them the same.
So it's been just over a year since you officially sold.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit. You popped into the store, and what's that emotions like?
Glad of customer relationships. Mm-hmm. You see these people when they come in the store. Some people are a lot of people are creatures of habit. You can count on Mr. Smith's, for example, being in the store every day at 8 a.m. on Monday doing his weekly shopping.
Mm-hmm.
You can count on there's different people that, hey, every day at lunchtime, you're going to see them at the deli.
Yeah.
So you get to know those people, you get to know them by name, and you miss those people because you create a rapport. You say, hey, how you doing today? You have a little conversation with them. I miss a lot of employees. The key to any business is to have good employees. And I had some great employees. I should say we had some great employees. I was very fortunate to have our management team. Some of my managers worked for me 20, 30, 40 years, all throughout the department. And we had a good relationship, and they were family. Wingerts Food Center was a family, and a lot of those people went through us in thick and thin. And so I miss those people. Some of those people are still there today, still working hard for Neiman's and new owners. But that's the transition. I go in there and see some of the things they're doing and say, hey, that looks pretty cool. And then you say, well, why are they doing that? Mm-hmm. But it's their business now. They must exactly, but they must be doing something right. They have 4 supermarkets as a family, so you respect what hey. Maybe they're doing some things that we didn't do, and good for them. They're very involved in the community already. So I wish them luck, but I do miss some of the people, and it's funny because as you see a lot of those customers every day, and you can greet them by name. And now if I meet them at the post office or someplace else, I know that person, but I can't remember their name, So it's sad because I'm usually pretty good with names, but just not seeing them every day. But that's the part I miss about the whole business, and just now you get up in the morning. Okay, well, hey, what are we doing today? And my wife Doreen, of course, well, we got things to do here, and we've got a lot of different things done at home now. We redid our kitchen and our floors, and we've stained decks that haven't been stained in 10 years, and getting caught up on all that stuff. We've done a little bit of traveling and spending time with our grandkids, but it's been a good transition.
We talked earlier. You wake up, you have a piece of toast, and you're off on your day, right? So you're married to Dorina.
Yep.
She has a couple of kids. You have a couple of kids.
We have a total of 4 kids between the 2 of us,
and 7 grandkids.
Have 7 grandkids. Yep, just had a little baby girl here just about 4 weeks ago. Daughter Christina lives down in Ohio, so just had the 7th one. So yeah, they keep us busy, and that's the thing too. Being retired, your time to be able to spend with your grandkids when I was working, was limited.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes I feel like, hey, Dad, what you doing today? We need a babysitter, which is fine. We do it. We can help out. But no, it's just spending more time with the grandkids, learning a little more about them and their, what they like to do.
Yeah.
And so, but they're guy all the way from 9 years old all the way down to 4 weeks old. So
that's exciting.
Big spread there. So yeah, and it's fun to spend time with them. So
they're doing the oldest one doing any sports or any activities?
She's tried her hand at running. There was a running club at her elementary school. She's tried that, but I don't think running's for her. But the little one, my grandson that lives in Essexville, his first tasted t-ball last year, so we got to go see some t-ball games. So that was That was fun.
You ever coached T-ball before?
Oh yeah. Yeah. All the way. Yep. My kids all the way from T-ball all the way up to when they were in high school.
Yeah.
A little bit of little league.
Man, that's just intense for 45 minutes or whatever it is. It's like total chaos, then they're gone.
That's right.
And it's like, what just happened?
What's for treat? Where's our treat? Where are we getting our treat?
Here's a treat. Time to go. Oh, I think that's what you should start doing, coaching T-ball.
I'm waiting for one of my kids to say, "Hey, coach your granddaughter, coach your grandson." But I don't know about that. We'll see. I'll help out. My one granddaughter has a little bit of interest in basketball, so I might work with her a little bit. We had a basketball hoop that was around sitting in our driveway for a long time. We finally said, Drew and I said, we got to get rid of this. So we took it to her, and she's got a little bit of interest. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, they're young. That's young.
That's happening. It was very hard for me the right after we sold the store because those your last quarter, okay, you're dealing with the holidays. You get Thanksgiving, okay, and I guess you're promoting turkeys, you're doing this and all, and then you get into Christmas. You got Christmas business and adjusting staff and Christmas Eve and what your hours going to be for this. So those first. I never had a Christmas Eve off. I never had a day before Thanksgiving off. So it's been an adjustment, but it's for both Jeff and I. But that's right now we've turned that pretty much into family time. Where
that's great.
Where you can spend time with the family and so it's been different. But it's a positive thing too. It's a good thing.
It's good. I mean, for us, you talk about seasonal, and I'm like, we got snow removal for us coming up, so we're having our meetings. Do we have enough equipment? Do we have this? And it's like, and it's every season is that, and you dealt with it in being in the store there, and it's like, I don't know if I can ever shut it off. It's like you probably never do. You just always you're thinking about it. Like, did they order their turkeys? Are they gonna have turkeys? And then you go in there and be like, where's the turkeys at? They should have turkeys out.
I still have dreams about that today as far as things in the store. That was one of the first dreams I had when we were Thanksgiving. Did we get the turkeys? Did we order the turkeys? So it's embedded in your mind, and being in the business that long, there's those things like it's a business is time of seasons, and everything changes, and what you plan, how you plan, and how you do business, and how you hire help, and it's definitely that way.
You're looking for a job? I need some lawn assistance, some snow plow. I got it. You need some other supplemental income, and I got to fill those voids in your time.
I appreciate the offer. I've had a couple offers, but I've turned them down. Adrena and I it's been a year now. We're still trying to figure things out a little bit of where we want to go, what we want to do. We know Adrena does not like winter, so we're definitely, we get away in the wintertime, and this year we're going to go to Florida. But it's just trying to, again, transition into that retirement life of, staying active, staying busy, getting some things done. And preparing for your future, and preparing to make sure, I hear so many horror stories of people running out of money, in their later years. I mean, I employed some people before we left that they're in their late 60s, early 70s. They're coming back to work because they need money, and that's sad. Yeah. So, but just preparing for that and making sure that we're setting good, and but just enjoying life and trying to stay healthy, trying to not to get too much, gain too much weight. But that's something I got to work on. But no, it's different. We, if we play our cards right, we should be okay.
Yeah. So, Well, thanks for coming in today. I know the community misses you. They're grateful that Neiman's is there, but you are loved and respected in the community and in surrounding area. So,
well, thank you.
I do hear that from time to time. It's like it's not the same, but
we're still in the community.
Yeah,
everybody thinks, well, okay, well, where are you moving to? Are you going to move north? Are you going to move south? Where are you going to move to? But our roots are there. We don't have any, as far as Mom and Jeff and I, we have no plans of moving. But we miss the community, and the community's been good to us.
Yeah.
They supported us for 90 some years. We owe a lot to them for our success, along with our employees. Like I said, that we were very, very fortunate to have the great employees that we did. But thank you for having me. It's I've never done anything like this before, but no, this was a great experience, and I give you a lot of credit and give you some acknowledgement for doing what you're doing. I've watched some of your podcasts that you've had with other people, and just the small town grit, and to you got to have these people for the communities to be successful, no matter if it's in a thumb area, just to have those small town entrepreneurs, so that to keep things going, because it's getting harder and harder, as you know, for small businesses to stay successful, because the big guys, they're not going away because they got the money, but to reinvest in the community and reinvest in your business, and that's a big thing these days.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's
been
a great experience.